Good evening, friends, and welcome to a very interesting session on Friday. And as we speak in today's session, the fact that after Modi recently attended the G7 summit in France, we come to know that Modi's life is under threat. It has always been, and it is more and more becoming more and more obvious by all the geopolitical relations and much more. Also, we'll be talking about as to the huge BJP reshuffle which is happening, and much more in this particular session. So yes.
Yeah. So let's speak about the first news. Senior leaders of the BJP and the RSS have held discussions on an upcoming organization overhaul, with sources indicating that the party's new national team could be announced shortly. The meeting, which lasted around 4 hours at Defense Minister Rajnath Singh's residence in New Delhi, was attended by Home Minister Amit Shah, RSS functionary Arun Kumar, and BJP National General Secretary B.L. Santosh. Discussions reportedly focused on restructuring the party organization and finalizing the team that will work under BJP President Nitin Nabin. The deliberations are considered important because changes are expected both at the national level and in several state units, including the Delhi BJP. Party insiders suggest that announcements regarding key organizational appointments may be made within the next few days. According to sources, the new leadership team is likely to feature a greater number of younger faces, reflecting Nabin's position as one of the party's youngest national presidents. The reshuffle may also involve moving some leaders between organizational responsibilities and government roles. The party is expected to continue its strategy of broad social representation by including leaders from diverse communities and backgrounds. RSS representatives also shared their views during the meeting as part of the consultation process. Sources indicate that the new team could be unveiled around June 20 and 21. They further suggest that the organizational changes may be followed by a reshuffle of the union cabinet as the NDA government's third term progresses. Party leaders believe experienced organizational workers will continue to play an important role, while efforts will also be made to provide greater opportunities to younger leaders and women in line with the BJP's long term political strategy. So, this is something very good, Jaydev, because we need change all the time. We can't have the same people always. We need people who are productive. And it refers to a complete restructuring or reshuffling of the party's leadership positions, committee members, or key office bearers. And political parties often undertake such exercises to improve efficiency, address internal performance assessments, or realign the party strategy for further electoral goals. So, yesterday, friends, when we had this panel discussion with top eminent people like Mohandas Pai and other important people, what was discussed is all the things that have made India so strong in the term that Modi ji has been in power, and what more he can do. So it's, as citizens, important citizens, it's very important to analyze what more can be done for India. And I'm sure this kind of structuring would help in the process. The RSS, as you know, is an ideological parent organization of the BJP. The fact that senior leaders from both organizations are meeting suggests that these changes are being coordinated to ensure they align with the broader ideological framework and long-term goals shared by both the party and RSS. Also, this indicates that the expected changes will likely involve high-level appointments at the national level, such as national general secretaries, vice presidents. So, all this is going to also happen. And so, this is something, Jerry, that I think it's very important. In a sense, this is a routine yet significant exercise in political management where party and its parent body are consulting to decide who will hold key leadership roles in the party's national structure moving forward. So, yeah, back to you.
Yeah, so it is quite obvious that BJP wants to find the next group of young blood especially with roots from the RSS, deep rooted in RSS. And it is quite good to see that the next crop of young leaders is being hunted and being identified so that they can take over with under the watchful eyes of the experienced BJP party leaders, because they have to be groomed, because the next generation is here, and RSS roots is very, very important as far as BJP is concerned. So now, coming back to the topic in hand with regards to the Modi's major life threat. Now, as we know, Modi recently went to France, Evian, for the G7 summit. He met Donald Trump. Now, if you look at that particular meeting with Donald Trump, Modi ji discussed about the killing of the 3 Indian sailors by the US military last week, and in the Gulf of Oman. Okay. And Trump called Modi a very tough negotiator and pledged to visit India soon. He also talked about trade deals and negotiations and everything. And he questioned, and Trump said America would help India if they were attacked. This is very important. If India was attacked, Trump said America would help India. And referencing Modi ji, he said, if anybody attacks that man, we are going to be here. Now, if there's a new leader, I'm not sure about it. So apparently, what does this say? He is saying that Trump is referring to the fact that he's not sure whether Modi ji will be the leader until the completion of Trump's own term. So Trump's term, ends before Modi ji's term, isn't it? So
Yeah.
because and so what does he indicate? So Trump's term ends in 2029, and so one thing is for sure, that let us decode what is behind the lines. As we know that there have been several attempts by CIA for regime change in India. So coming to the first point, as we discussed, there is this person you see in the picture called Matthew Van Dyke. He was among the 7 foreigners who were arrested in connection with the alleged conspiracy hatched against India, and NIA arrested him. He was responsible for training, all the rebel groups in Northeast. So he has very advanced training in guerrilla warfare, drone usage, and advanced warfare techniques. And during investigation, Van Dyke was reportedly heard making statements that backed rebellions across the world. So he also used to join insurgent groups in Venezuela, Myanmar, and Iran. And his arrest in India signifies that he is believed to be linked among armed networks active in Northeast. So also, friends, this is one point. And number 2 point, if you remember, this man you see in the picture, his name is Terrence Jackson, a former US Special Forces officer who was discovered in Dhaka hotel room. He was found dead, and Indian intelligence agencies have learned that he visited at least 3 key defense establishments across different districts in 4 months following his arrival in April 2025. This guy called Terrence Jackson, he's a U.S. Army First Special Forces Airborne Command. He was found dead in the August 31st in room 808 of the Westin Dhaka. And the police in Bangladesh says there's no signs of foul play. But Terence Jackson's death has, fueled speculation over the threats to Prime Minister Modi. And according to reports, he was in Bangladesh as a part of a military-related assignment. However, the circumstances surrounding his death has led some analysts to question whether his presence in the region was linked to broader intelligence operations in South Asia. Now, also the fact that if you remember in the SCO summit in China, if you remember, Putin and Modi ji had a very private discussion in Putin's car. And some analysts believe that the Indian and Russian intelligence agencies have cooperated to neutralize a potential security threat. However, no official evidence has been publicly released to support claims of an assassination plot. This is what people say, but I'm sure that when Putin invited Modi ji inside his car, it was very, very important security
Absolutely.
intelligence regarding Prime Minister Modi's safety, and it
Yeah.
was a very, very long time he sat inside Putin's car in China, and so this has contributed to the talks about intelligence activity, geopolitical competition, and regional security dynamics in South Asia. So also I would like to add few points. It is not only the CIA, it is also the Communist Party of China.
Yeah.
It is also the ISI. It is also many other forces, the Islamist forces, the radical Islamist forces who want to see an end to the reign of Prime Minister Modi's
Yeah,
the
because Jaydev, see, what is happening to India under Modi is that Modi is, the country is galloping forward, and he has achieved so many things. This has become a threat for all the groups that you have mentioned, because they survive on hunger and starvation and oppressing people. Now here comes a leader who is so strong that he says that, see, people have to be free and people should get what they want. People should not starve. So this sort of a leader has shaken them completely. And also, if you finish, I'll also just put a few thoughts of mine. Can I continue? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So when Donald Trump, he was engaging in a standard diplomatic maneuver to project positive relations between the two nations this time. So that's why he was promising to visit India. Now, it is also to indicate that there is a sort of a thawing in the relationship between the two countries. Now, Trump's comment that the visit would happen sometime in the future is non-committal, as you know. In diplomatic terms, this is a way to express intent without being bound to a specific timeline. Okay, and the mention of a trade deal highlights that the relationship was being driven by economic interests. The leaders were signaling that they were nearing an agreement, which is often used to justify or build public support for such high level diplomatic meetings. In short, the passage describes a performative diplomatic meeting at the G7 summit intended to publicly signal the economic friction was being managed and that public ties were being prioritized. And also, Trump, when he spoke about Modi, he said that he's a very good-looking person, but please do not, look at him at face value because he's a very tough negotiator. So this is something he said in a very laughing way, but also the fact is true, because whenever Trump used to change the stand and try to hit India, Modi was always silent and he would do what he thought was right, whether it is taking oil from Russia or whatever. He decided what had to be done, but he did it in such a diplomatic way that he did not ruffle any feathers. Now, going to the point that you said about the threat with regards to the attacks that may be hatched against India and Modi. Now, the individuals were accused of being involved in a conspiracy hatched against India. That's very clear. Specifically, instigations by the NIA alleged that they had illegally entered restricted areas in India's northeast, crossed into Myanmar, and provided training to Myanmar-based ethnic armed groups to drone warfare and jamming techniques. So you just look at the way they are trying to attack India. And Indian authorities have framed this as a significant security concern, viewing the group's alleged activities such as sourcing drone equipment and interacting with insurgent linked groups as a direct threat to destabilize India's northeast border regions. Now, we all want to know who is this Matthew Van Dyke? Now, he is a well-known, controversial figure with a documented history in international conflict zones. He has previously been identified himself as a documentary filmmaker, security analyst, and volunteer fighter. He gained media attention for his involvement in conflicts in Libya against the Gaddafi regime, Syria, and Ukraine. From this itself, you can make out what this man does. He goes and tries to create mischief there and overthrow the regime. Now, the case was registered under India's Unlawful Activities, Act, which is Prevention Act, UAPA, a stringent anti-terror law, followed the arrest. The suspects were remanded to NIA custody to further probe the network's connection, logistics support, and potential links to banned outfits. So Indian authorities treated this as a sophisticated covert operation involving foreign nationals attempting to introduce advanced military technology to insurgent groups, that is drones, near sensitive Indian borders. So this is something that has happened. Meanwhile, you also touched upon the death of Terrence Jackson, a former US Special Force officer who was found deceased in Dhaka hotel on August 31st, 25. Now, following his arrival in Bangladesh, Jackson's movements drew attention of Indian intelligence agencies, and investigations revealed that over the 4 months he was in the country, he visited at least three key defense establishments in different districts of Bangladesh. And because of his background and his activity around sensitive military sites, his presence and subsequent death sparked significant speculation and conspiracy theories. Many media reports and geopolitical commentators in the region suggested his activities might have been linked to intelligence gathering or covert operations,
Yeah. So
potentially,
yeah,
potentially targeting India's national security interests. So what has been done is very good, Jaideep, because see, we want to make sure that Modi ji is safe. Okay, and this we don't want an India to disintegrate and go into the hands of mischief makers.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
back to you.
So now, what is quite important, if we read the lines, going ahead, he also reduced his convoy to 2 cars only because of he wanted to set an example of, saving fuel and saving energy during this the war between Iran and US. So now he should return to full strength convoy. He should have the full convoy. He should be very careful, especially with the fact that in Punjab, if you remember, his convoy was stuck in the flyover for so much of time
Yeah,
with the farmers' protest. And also, you have these groups like the Cockroach Group, the Cockroach Janta Party. They are also, staging protest in Jantar Mantar, and you can see that all these parties are, they are anti BJP and anti government. So all these forces are funded by obviously the George Soros Foundation, and these forces are trying their best to create anarchy inside India, and somehow unsettle the NDA government. So because as if you see, the TMC party is broken up. The Uddhav Thackeray, Sena party is broken up. So now NDA has, 2/3 majority, and they can pass delimitation bill. They can pass many other bills, a women reservation bill, very comfortably. So now the opposition parties are getting scared.
yeah.
So they are, colluding with these anti-Indian forces. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So in a very amusing, incident, Jaideep, it was Rahul Gandhi's birthday, and apparently in the audience, everyone was saying, shouting that he should be the next prime minister. I don't know on what basis they are shouting like this, because in every state they have lost elections. So only one or two states they have got, a stronghold. So I don't know whether they're being paid to say that. So that's also very amusing, isn't it?
Yes, and friends, if you do like our content, make sure to hit the like and hype button. This helps us a great deal. And coming to a last, piece of news, friends, and as you know that DK Shivkumar has been having trouble holding his party and party people together, because each and every day you have one a person from his cabinet reaching Delhi because they are not happy with the portfolio allotted to them. So now, what is happening is, in a very surprising thing, is that in Karnataka, DK Shivkumar has secured a major victory as the Congress won 5 of the 7 legislative council seats that went to polls on Thursday, and the BJP led NDA, which fielded candidates, managed to win only 2 while Govind Raju faced a defeat, and cross voting helped Congress. And Randeep Singh Surjewala said the results reflected support for the party. And in the first round, all five Congress candidates won with a landslide victory. Congress had 135 votes but secured 151. So the BJP and JD wanted to abolish the guarantees, but their MLAs have expressed confidence in the Congress government's policies. So who are these MLAs who cross-voted should be kicked out of the BJP party, in my opinion, at least. So
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
complete
Yeah.
cleanup of BJP Karnataka party is needed before the next Karnataka election, and
Yeah.
they don't have much time. Yes.
Yeah. So Piyush says even SP led by Akhilesh Yadav is in danger of breakup. Absolutely. In fact, there's also one more thing, Piyush, that Karma seems to be acting, on Akhilesh very well, because apparently what we have seen in the news is that his daughter, has run away with a African national, and Islamic, and now he is also very, very worried as the father. So he was the one who was doing appeasement politics. Okay, now look at karma, the way it hit him, and this is a proper example of that. When you do mischief, your own personal life will be in, jeopardy. So this is something very clear. Yeah, back to you, Jen.
Yeah, so this is quite, what we wanted to regarding Prime Minister Modi is always in history, CIA has been responsible for many regime changes in various countries. And this time, they don't like to see India, being very stable, strong, and, especially during these times when there's war and between Iran, US, and Israel. So the only country which is sitting very stable, uh, like very cool, is India. So
Yeah.
they don't like to see this. Yes.
Yeah. So there's one more piece of important news, which is Ambani's Jio is setting up ground stations in India to connect users with a partner satellite network and support future satellites launched by the company. So this is a big move, in a move that could put them in direct competition with Elon Musk led Starlink and other global satellite internet providers. Now, Reliance Jio on Friday announced plans to enter the satellite communications sector by developing a low Earth orbit called LEO, a satellite constellation for India. Now, Akash Ambani, while speaking at Reliance Industries' 49th annual general meeting, said the company is evaluating the development of its own LEO satellite constellation and will also partner with leading global satellite operators. The announcement is significant as Jio is already India's largest telecom operator and one of the world's largest mobile service providers by subscriber base. So Akash was saying that Jio connected India on the ground. Now we must connect India from the skies. There are still remote villages, island communities, and border outposts where Jio network cannot reach. For them, satellite connectivity will be the bridge to the rest of India. So this is interesting news coming from the Ambani background. Yeah, back to you, Jim.
Yeah, that's all the news for today, friends, and we'll see you again tomorrow. And until then, Jai Hind and Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.